What's going on, guys? My name is Tim Ruswick, and today I thought I'd do something a little bit different. I usually share design tips. I usually share things that I learned, uh, and things that I discovered that were wrong, or whatever. But today I want to talk about things that I thought were right, that I 100% believed in, that that I acted on for many, many years. Like, I believed these things. I thought they were true. I kept them as part of my core philosophy. I use them in many different ways. And after years of working with them and years of trying out these different things, I just realized that I should change my opinion about them and I should just go 180. A lot of these opinions I've actually shared on this channel before, especially if you go on my blog posts. Like, the blog posts date back way back, and forum posts are even back before that. And they'll state some of these opinions that I 100% believed at the time. But now I've reversed my opinion on these three things. So I'm going to share the three with you, and then we're going to go through and kind of talk about it. So, number one, I've actually mentioned this a lot on stream. If you hang out on stream, you probably heard it before. But I thought game development was a technical skill. That's what I thought game development was. I thought if you were the best programmer, if you were the best, dude at Unity, if you knew what you were doing, if you knew how to build programs and build architecture and engineer all that stuff, I thought that you could make the best game. I really, truly, 100% believe that it was a technology skill based type of thing. So much so to the point like that when I was like a programmer, I would look down on people that use drag and drop pieces of software. I'd be like, oh, they're not real programmers. They're just the people that they're using those drag and drop, those game makers, right? Game Maker, Construct, Game Salad, all that stuff. And I really looked down on them. And actually, in the previous live stream, there was a guy that joined in, and he mentioned, because I was using Construct 2 at the time, and he mentioned something like, oh my god, this guy lectures stuff and he doesn't even use a real program. And it triggered me. Well, it didn't trigger me, but like, it reminded me of like, holy shit, like, I used to think that way. I used to be that guy. I used to really think that way. Like, oh, this guy's using a drag and drop piece of software. He's not as good as I am because I'm an elite programmer. I know my shit. They're not as cool as me. But you know what I realized? Game development is not a technical skill. Yes, you need technical skill to make a game, but game development requires so much more. And if you got to have one, the technical or the art skill, I think you can make a better game with the art and the abstract, just the design knowledge over the technical skill, because there are tools that you can make games without technical skill. There are no tools where you can make great games without the knowledge of design and how to design stuff and how to make stuff fun, and the art and the music and all that great stuff. Like, game development is so much more than just technically programming something into the computer. Game development requires a whole host of skills, and it ranges from like actual game design, like understanding what makes a game fun, why the player wants to play it, why should the player keep playing it, keep progressing, all those different things, all the way down to like the art and the visuals that they take in, to the music that they hear, to the sound effects that they experience, to the overall arcing experience that they actually consume and make a part of them. Like, game development is so much more, and it borders more on art than it does like actual technical skill. Now, technical skill can have some advantages, sure. Like, I've learned this, like, coming from a programming background, I think it's easier for me to make games with stuff like Construct 2 because I understand how things work. I understand the if-then statements. I understand variables. I understand all the different stuff. But it's not at all technical based like I thought it was at first. It's really more about design and player experience. Like, if you can work on your design, you can get your player experience down. It does not matter what your technical skill is, because there are tools out there that you can make games without hardcore technical experience. So I was totally wrong on that, and that's something I got to take back. The number two thing that I've learned, and I've learned this over many, many years, but for a long time, I thought you should plan everything. I thought a lot of the reasons why my initial, because I had a few startups that failed and went belly up. We never actually monetized them at all. We never had a paying customer. After spending months and months and months of working on these startups and all this stuff, and I thought they failed because we failed to plan. That old saying, "Failing to plan is planning to fail," and I just thought the plan was the thing that I needed. And anybody that starts a game without a plan is crazy. I used to do that all the time. I have entire notebooks full of plans for games, designs, documents, all this different stuff. Spent so much time planning games. But I was wrong on this one. Over the last couple of years, especially working with startups, I've learned more on the iterative approach, and I've talked about that here on the channel. But I've also learned that, like, your brain is a horrible emulator. That's a line that Chris DeLeon will use. He's a friend of mine from Game Keto. I recommend you check him out, by the way. That's a great line to me because your brain is a horrible emulator. And because of that, when you plan stuff out in your brain, especially something like games that are, interactive based on the computer, your brain can't really emulate them well. So when you actually put them into the computer and design them and you play them, they may not be as fun as you think they'll be. So planning in that sense doesn't make sense because you're gonna have to go back to the drawing board once you get the whole prototype going. So I've learned to work in this more plan nothing kind of chaos mode where I start with just this idea, like, hey, I have this idea. What if we did this? What if we built this mechanic? And then what if we added this other thing? And then what if these enemies came in and did this? I find that iterative approach helps me make better games, to be honest. It helps me, like, if any of you guys watch the Finished Friday streams, you'll see, like, it's just iterative. It's just, like, we made a whole game from scratch on a 10-hour stream, and it was just, like, one thing after the other. Okay, this game needs this. Okay, this game needs that. If we would have sat around and tried to plan Ocean Raiders, the game we ended up making, there's no way we could have planned it. There's so many little things in that game that I would not have planned, but we knew that it needed because of the iterative approach that we were using. And I've really come full circle on this because I don't think most projects need to plan at all. I think there are certain projects that could use some planning. Like if you're working on a strategy game where you got to balance units or some kind of PvP or something like that, I think you've got to plan some stuff, right? But for the most part, like, game design, I think, really is a series of iteration cycles. I think it's, you build the basic thing, then it needs something else, and you add that thing, and then you play it, and then you add that thing, and you play it, and you just keep going through that cycle, and the cycles get bigger and bigger and bigger as you go. That's full circle for me because I used to plan everything. Now I plan almost nothing. So number 3, I used to think that other people have all the answers. This was a big one for me. Dude, it just makes me speechless when I think about it because I lived the vast majority of my life thinking that these other people, these successful people, these people like, the people I admired, Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, all these, rich billionaires, they have the secrets to life. They figured it out because they were able to make money. They must have all the answers to life. And not even just the crazy billionaires, but like, the people out, that I know that are in my extended circle that, have their shit together, or the founders that I see in founders of companies that I see in like New York Times or something, or TechCrunch or any of that stuff. The game developers that have sold, 100,000 copies, or that win IGF awards or that kind of thing. I just figured they have some secret that I don't have. And I was wrong about that. The more that I just like do my own shit in life, especially like this YouTube channel and this whole endeavor the last 9 months to a year with Game Dev Underground and with the forums and with the Discord chat and with the YouTube channel and, live streams and all this stuff. The more I do this, the more I just realize, like, man, I should have been doing this stuff all along, but I just figured that I should try and copy what other people are doing. I should try and do the things that they're doing because they're the rich people, right? They're the successful people. They know what they're doing. I don't, but a lot of them don't even know what they're doing. And I'm being serious about that. Like, I've talked to a lot of successful people, a lot of people that, like, they really don't know why they were successful. They can tell you why they think they were successful. They can give talks about it at GDC. They can give you all this different advice, but at the end of the day, like, they're just people. They're equal to you. They have the same opportunities that you have. They have the same, like, ability. You can be them if you want to be. You just got to put in the work. And that went weirdly motivational and stuff, but like, I just realized that, like, nothing is unattainable. There's a great talk that Steve Jobs gave at it was a college. It might have been Harvard or something. It was like the kind of talks they give at, like, the end of the year to the graduating class, and he, it's weird. I say that they're just people like us, but one of the things that he said stuck out with me. He said, if you look around you and you see all the things that were made by someone, they were made by someone no smarter than yourself. And, like, we don't realize that, right? Like, when we see a chair, we don't stop to think, like, oh, that was invented by a normal dude that came up with this idea. He drew it out, and then this other normal dude crafted it out of wood or whatever. Then this other normal dude sold it. Like, they're just everyday regular people. They're not like superheroes. They're not crazy unattainable things. So once you start to see the world that way, like, where you literally can create anything, you literally can be anything that you want to be, I think you start to go after it more. Like, I certainly have, right? Like, as I've seen this whole YouTube and game development thing, like, really, where I get this, like, glint in my mind that it might be possible to build something, and I'm like, holy shit, like, yeah, now I want to double down on this, right? Now that I see the video stuff is working, absolutely. Now I want to make more videos for you guys, because we're building a community here. Now that I saw that, like, I could make a game every week, like, whoa, maybe I got the confidence to finish Phallophobia. So it's like, just realizing that for me has been a big game changer, and I no longer look to people for answers like I did before. Not to say I don't do research, not to say I don't watch GDC talks. There's a lot of great information there, but I just don't look to those people like they have the answers. I look to them like they have some information for me, but I have the answers. I'm the only one that has my answers, and you're the only one that has your answers. So, those are 3 things that I've drastically changed my opinion on. I hope it was helpful to you. If there's anything in your life that you've drastically changed your opinion on, please leave it below. I would love to read it, because I think these are important things to talk about, because a lot of us we have adamant opinions, right? But a lot of times, if you're open-minded, those opinions change over time. You just learn stuff. You just see better ways to do things. And it's always great to learn from other people. So leave those below. If you got any questions for me, leave those below as well. But once again, I'm Tim Ruswick, and I will see you tomorrow.